go. Let's go. This one's going to be a good one. Your flowers. All right. So, as y'all know, it's a great day to, release. It's a great day to build. So, that's why we're here. And this is based on psychology. Again, this is based on psychology. Like I said, it's cat year. So everything that we're doing this year is going to be about spirituality, psychology, and everything correlated with the numbers and the astrology. All right. So first things first, I just want to say thank y'all for the people that's coming in quite early or whatever. Only been a minute. We already pulling people in, of course. So first of all, let's talk about what the fuck flowers is. And on TikTok, I can't talk like this. So here it's like unfiltered. I get to say what the fuck I want, right? So when it comes to your flowers, I literally think your flowers is your power. Your flowers is your respect. And one thing about me, I am very big on fucking respect. I am very big on respect. But here's the thing, you don't just get respect because you ask for it. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. You do not get respect just because you ask for it. I'm sorry to say, but guess what? There's a way through psychology that you can get your respect. And what we have to understand, and if y'all taking notes or whatever, if you writing shit down, first of all, you listening to a 7. I definitely think you should be taking notes. Definitely. Especially when it comes to psychology and understanding social dynamics. I think that's something that I'm really good at. So, first of all, we have to ask ourselves, what do your flowers look like to you? You know what I'm saying? How do you even want to be seen? How do you want people to talk to you? How do you want people to address you? You see, one thing that Gary has talked about is manifestation and who which numbers are good at manifestation. Now, that does not mean that everybody can't manifest. It just means that some people will be better at it. But here's the thing, did you know that you can actually manifest the way that you want people to view you? Now, you guys probably watched Matrix, and in the Matrix, the Matrix was made in 1999. I was born 1999, so I'm always gonna reference that shit. Okay, it's been in my DNA, literally. If you look at my profile picture, this is a Matrix photo shoot that I did 2 years ago before the Matrix was popular. But anyways, let's get to the point. So, in the Matrix, there's a scene where they are in the construct, and that is when Morpheus tells Neo, "Hey, this is not real. This is a construct. This is where you can build everything." And he says, "Look at yourself." He's like, "Do you see that you have your hair?" And he's like, "Yeah, where did I get my hair from?" This is your residual self image. You got to write that word down. Residual self image. Your residual self image is how you continuously think of yourself. So, what does residual mean? I know about residual money. Y'all probably know about what residual income is, but what about a residual self-image? A residual self-image is how you view yourself on a daily basis, because to get a residual payment means that you're getting something paid consistently. So your residual self-image is how you're viewing yourself consistently. Now here's the thing, a lot of y'all don't receive respect, or you don't receive your flowers because you're not the first one to give it to you. Why do you think, and I'm always going to use my mentor as an example because everybody knows who he is. We all have that common mutual thing, and that's where you can feel connection to me. And that's another thing that I'm teaching you right here. When you communicate with people, always mention something that is familiar between both of you, something mutual. A lot of you guys know me from Gary, so I'm going to continuously mention Gary because it's something mutual and comfortable for you. So when we look at Gary, and Gary's consistently telling people what he's done, he's consistently parading himself, he's consistently congratulating himself. You want to know why? Because he's showing you how he wants to be treated. Now here's the thing, you've been waiting for the outside world to treat you a certain way, and then you're going to start to treat you a certain way. It doesn't work like that. If we understand as above, so below, as within, so without, that means that how you view yourself is the first step to getting the outside world. Why is that? Because whatever impressions that you put into your subconscious mind will then be pushed out into the physical. So if you want your flowers, my nigga, you got to start to plant them shits within yourself first. Because here's the thing, when you walk into the room, your aura is felt first. Write that shit down. When you walk into a room, your aura is felt first. That's your energy, right? So if you've been working on yourself, and I tell people, you should journal. Why should you journal? Because when you write something down, you just taken something from your subconscious mind, something that's in your mental realm, and you've just put it on paper, which is something physical in this 3D reality. So this is why it's important that, take a script and write out how you want people to view you. And you may think this shit is corny, but hey, what can I tell you? The same things that I wrote down 2 years ago is how I get addressed now. Period. Period. Okay, if you go on my YouTube, you'll see I've been doing manifestation and rewire your subconscious mind for about 3 years now. All right. So, in order to get your flowers, you have to first understand, what does that look like? How do you want people to address you? Do you want people to be intimidated when they see you? Do you want people to be in awe when they see you? You have to understand the essence of what you want. It's okay if you don't know the exact detail, but you at least have to know the essence of how you want to feel. For example, when I was first on this journey of, getting the followers, getting the influence, and getting people to see what I'm about, I always told myself I want people to be in awe when they see me. Little did you know, I went to Atlanta, 5 Go. Of course, it'd be something in my tribe. I go to Atlanta and this guy looks at me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, no way. Oh my gosh, no way." Now, why am I telling you this? Because that is a perfect example of something crystallizing that I wrote down. Because I wrote down, people will be in shock when they see me. Now, in order to get your flowers too, you have to have some type of value. You have to build something. There's a tweet that I like that Roger posted, Ringmaster Rattle. If you haven't followed him, Ringmaster Raw, I'm pretty sure you guys follow him. He posted about, you gotta always be giving value to people. Period. You always gotta be giving value to people. And here's the thing: you can't get no flowers if you haven't built anything. If you have not planted anything. For a tree to grow up into a tree, it had to be planted first. And then after the tree was planted, then I'm able to pick some fruits or pick some petals to give to you. I can't give you a fucking flower if you don't have a root to take it from. Damn, 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 damn. I cannot give you no flowers if you don't have any roots, any stems, or anything to take it from. So before you demand respect, you have to make sure that you have value. And here's the thing, right? Somebody reached out to me and was asking, how can I reach out to influencers and get them to do this and this and that? Let me tell you something. You got to understand human nature. And one book that I recommend is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read that book at 16 years old. I don't know what the fuck I was doing with that book. It just looked cute, pretty, subconsciously just connected to it. And I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. And here's the thing: in order to influence anybody, you have to first understand what they want. You see, we too busy wanting something without giving. And I think we just talked about this yesterday. If you didn't check out my spaces, make sure you check it out. Yesterday was about vampire, being an energy vampire. If you want someone to respect you, but you have nothing to give, you're being an energy vampire because you want them to have a level of energy towards you that's only going to make you more amplified, but you have shit to give to them. Come on. Let's do better. Let's do better. Most of the time, people are giving you flowers because of the impact that you've made in their life, right? So when all of y'all give tweets to Gary and you're like, I thank you, Gary, for what you're giving him his flowers because of the influence that he has brought within your life, because of what he has built up within your spirit, because what he has built up within your head. And that's for anybody that you feel inspired by. So what I'm trying to tell you is that let's start to be mindful again. What do you have to offer? A lot of y'all have the numerology to offer. Okay, well, you can't say too much about it, but even the little information, you know what I'm saying? Try to help people, but know who to help again. Because some people, again, you still have to be mindful. Some people will be just here to take, right? But here's how you get your flowers when it comes to that, right? You don't share everything. You actually share minimum. You actually share minimum. I'm not telling you to every single day that person that you want respect from. You tell them, oh, today's this, today's that. Actually, you don't get respect like that. Actually, you get no respect like that. Because what happens is because you have no type of gatekeeping, quote unquote, or because you have no type of exclusivity around what it is that you have to offer, it creates a level of no flowers because you're giving it for free, because you're just giving it out. So right there, you're going to have to trust your intuition when it comes to how much to give, how much I shouldn't give. But a lot of times you're only going to learn that through multiple interactions with people. You get what I'm saying? So again, now moving back to how do I get more respect, Sticks? Be silent. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like, people come into a room and they're demanding attention, not respect, attention, attention. Now, I don't know how closely related attention and respect is. Okay, I don't know how closely related attention and respect is, right? Because a lot of the most respected individuals in this worldly realm, they're the 1% and you don't even know their name, right? But they're respected by the people that you think are full of respect. And what I mean by that is the celebrities. Okay. And this is just all examples. Stick with me now. Right. So let's say you got fucking Rick Ross. Everybody's like, oh my God, I love Rick Ross. I love Rick Ross. But you don't know that Rick Ross is bending down his knees to somebody else because that person has more respect. Right. But why is that? Because their exclusivity, not the whole masses don't know who this person is. Right. So now the reason why I'm telling you this is because you have to learn how when you're in a room of people with power, you have to learn when to speak. Okay? You have to learn when to speak. Not everything needs a reply. You see, when I'm around people that I know have more value to give, why the fuck am I talking? I'm trying to soak shit up. You see, and I made a video recently saying 70% of your time you want to hang out with people who are doing better than you, and 30% of your time you want to hang out with people who are, I don't want to say beneath, but shit, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but people who are not on your level. Why is that? 70% is you giving, like you're receiving new information, and then 30% is you giving out to people who need that information. Okay. Now, I'm never going to tell you, don't hang out with people who are not where you at. I don't believe in that. I believe that there are people who are not where you at, but that can still bring you value. That can still bring you value. Right. And even then, you have to understand this realm of karma. If you want to receive, you have to give. That is a law of money, a spiritual law of money. There's the ebb and flow, which means that after every ebb, there'll be a flow, and after every flow, there probably will be an ebb. After every feast, there will probably be a famine, and after every famine, there'll probably be a feast, right? But there's also giving and receiving. So, what am I saying with all of this? I'm telling you that you have to be more selective with what you give. Okay. And the reason why is because certain things get more of an aura. Look how everybody's going crazy about nines. Look how everybody's going crazy about nines right now. You want to know why? Because there's a level of exclusivity around it. Right? Now, everybody, we all know the nine, it may not be as special as what people think it is. But who gives a fuck? Because it is not being given to people when they want it, there is a level of demand. And that's capitalism 101, supply and demand, right? But here's the thing. When you start to, let's say I'm having a conversation with someone and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm into numerology. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, right? And then they're like, oh, what do you know more about that? Man, it gets deep. And I leave it at that. That air of silence afterwards, that person gonna be like, damn, how deep? What do you mean by that? Now they're asking for questions. Now they're curious. Now they're trying to figure out what's going on. But my silence is now creating a level of fuck, I can't get in. Fuck, I can't. I'm telling you, this some cat shit. This some cat shit. This silence is letting them know, hey, not everything, you can't access it. You can't access it. Right? And here's the thing, y'all have to understand that y'all are ahead of the curve with the information that you know. So if you are ahead of the curve with the information that you know, just like Gary says, you are able to have a level of control of who can access it, especially when it comes to the people around you. You see, y'all try to convince people who don't care for it. And that's where you get fucked up, and that's where you start feeling dumb and feeling like, damn, I don't have no respect. Yeah, because you're going to your wrong demographic. You're at the wrong demographic. There was a tweet recently that showed like this famous violin player, and he played the violin in the New York train station. He got $30, but then later that night he performed at this very prestigious event to show that it's not about your value, it's about where you're placing yourself at. Okay? So again, a lot of y'all, you have to understand not everybody is going to respect you because everybody not may not have the same values and the same views as you. Whereas you're trying to get someone who is not your demographic to see you at a high light. Just let it go. That's the problem. That's that seeking that validation. That's the seeking the validation. But the moment that you stop giving a fuck and you don't care about validation, that's when you will see your aura of power rise. You see, validation is a form of neediness. You don't want to take your flowers. Stop trying to take your flowers from people. Stop trying to get people you trying to demand respect from people. That's not how shit work, bro. That's not how shit work. That is not how shit work. You don't take your flowers, you receive your flowers in the most elegant way possible, right? But again, it's about putting yourself in a level of respect, putting yourself at a high value. But the thing about it is that you have to see that within yourself. And a lot of times that takes isolation. That takes isolation for you to really get to know yourself, for you to really get to know what you can do. Because here's the thing, a lot of y'all are distracted. Hmm. I know. I know. A lot of y'all are distracted. Chasing pussy, chasing dick, chasing validation, chasing neediness, chasing something that doesn't fucking matter. And this is where you get off track. You see, but if you spent a nice solid month, I'm not telling you to go fucking monk mode and not see a single face. I would not want to tell you to do that. Because now you're gonna act weird when you talk to people because you haven't talked to someone in a fucking month, right? But if you take a month, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you have a 7 personal year cycle, right? So let's say you take a month to really be to yourself and you really learn about yourself. You start to see what topics you're interested in. You start to see what things you're naturally good at. You start to work out and you start to see, oh shit, my arms are getting bigger. That level of aura and confidence will start to grow. This is how you create a captivating aura. You see, again, we keep going outside in the world demanding things that we're supposed to create within us. And then once you create it within you, your aura is going to vibrate at a different level. And then you're going to start to attract different things in your physical reality. Okay? So, and again, I call this monk mode. I call this, just taking a sabbatical. It's some seven shit for real, for real. But I mean, hey, this is the year to do it, you know? So, you take that month, you take that time to yourself, and you say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna journal. I'm gonna figure this shit out. I'm gonna figure out how I want to be seen, who I'm gonna be. Like you have to understand, man. This shit, y'all play 2K, y'all play Madden, y'all play Sims before, y'all played this shit before. So why y'all acting like it's any different from this fucking virtual reality? The same way that you level up your character, you make your character go to the gym to 3+ bonus on body, 2+ bonus on speed and stamina. It's the same thing with you. You see, once you start to redirect your thoughts and your energy to your own progress, all of this shit that you're asking for is naturally going to come to you because you don't give a fuck about it. Because you know that as long as I have my systems in place, this shit is going to align with me. It's going to align with me, right? But here's the thing, too. We talked about silence, we talked about taking time to yourself. We talked about gatekeeping a little bit, but how do we create real magnetism, Sticks? How do I become more captivating? Well, first of all, it's in your voice. It's in your voice, right? If you go from head to toe, your throat chakra is the third chakra. If you go from head to toe, right? Now, little did we know that 3 is the communicator. That 3 is the child, and everybody loves children, right? Everybody loves children. So that magnetism is going to come from them chakras. But I'm going to teach you how to do it with your voice, okay? Now, when you have conversations with people, if you can get people more engaged into your conversation, they're going to be more engaged in you. The more you can get people engaged in you, the more energy you can receive from that, right? Now, what you do with that energy is your business. If you decide to do some fucked up shit with that energy, that's your karma. That's not my business, right? Because guess what? I have all of you engaged right now, but I am feeding your brain. I'm feeding your energy. This 7 year, I'm feeding you, right? But other people can take that and use it for whatever way they can, and it may be negative or positive. That's their business, okay? But let me tell you, when you start to go out into the physical world and you start to have more conversations, let's say you meet it with a mentor, you meet it with a new business deal, or you meet it someone who has some importance, right? You got 2 ways to go about it. You got the 50 Cent way, which is talking a little bit softer. Because when you talk a little bit softer, it makes everybody wonder, hey, wait, what did you say? So so now this is just one little tactic. You go soft and selective. Soft is selective is a vocal type. And what I mean by that, it's the Michael Jackson vocal type. It's the Janet Jackson vocal type. It's a way of when you say what you say, because you don't say much and because you're talking soft, every time you do say something, everybody wants to know what you're saying because you barely spoke it. And when you speak softly, right? So it makes people more attentive to what you say because it's not overbearing. Now the person who's yelling all across the room and speaking every moment, over time, I'm not gonna give a fuck about what that person has to say. Why? Because it's too much. It's too much. What's the law by Robert Greene? Um, Too much presence can decrease the price. Basically, it's too much. It's too much supply. It's too much supply of your talking. You're giving me too much of the product. Okay, so how about you lower the supply to raise the demand? You see, the less you talk and the more selective you are when you talk, the more they're gonna want to hear you talk. Why is this? Because people are naturally seeking validation. So if you're not talking, people are gonna immediately think it's because you don't like them or it's because you don't like what they're saying. And right there is at a point where you have received respect. Because when people start to seek your validation and you're not giving them that validation, that's when you start to see people more interested in what you have to say and your opinions, right? Here's another thing that you can do. You see, here's the thing. When people start telling their story, you nod your head every single time to tell them, oh, that you're listening or that you agree. Stop doing that. If you just listen with a straight face, you'll see that people will start to overcompensate because you're not giving them that validation within a conversation. You know how if I'm telling a story, you start shaking your head, you start nodding up and down. Yes, yes, to give me that approval that you agree with what I say. But if you stop doing that, you'll start to see people try to connect with you even more because you're not giving them no type of approval or no type of validation that you agree with what they're saying. Okay? So that's another thing. Not always showing not always showing signs that you agree with them. All right? Another tool I do want to tell you too is you don't always have to reply after someone says anything. So let's say I'm having a conversation with you and I tell you, "Yeah, man, I've been going to the gym, I've been doing my work, and I just don't say anything." What's going to happen is I'm naturally going to try to fill in that space because you're not replying. And then after I see that you don't reply again, I'm going to ask you a question to engage you back. I've seen this many times. Trust me. I've seen this many times where if I don't answer somebody after they say a statement like that, unless they're asking me a question and I don't say anything, it's like I went to the gym and I don't reply, they'll be like, it was a great workout. I did my legs or whatever. They'll start to spill even more. And this is something about how to win friends and influence people. The more that you have people talking about themselves, by the time that conversation is over, they'll feel like they know shit about you. And then what happens is I know this is psychology. You might think it's fucked up, but hey, you got to know how to use it, when to use it, and when it can actually benefit you. All right. Don't be a fucked up person. All right. So let's say we have this conversation and I'm not really replying. This person has talked to me, but they feel like they know nothing about me because I want to know more about them, right? After that conversation is over, because they know nothing about you, because they have no real detail about you, and again, this is not meant to be used in every conversation. You know what I'm saying? You should know how to use this information when it comes to maybe a job description, maybe a job interview, or maybe you're going on a a restaurant with a coworker or some shit, and you know what I'm saying? Maybe you're just trying to figure out, right? So because they know nothing about me towards the end of the conversation, they will start to feel like, oh my God, did that person like me? Did they this that? And now look at how you're taking up headspace. Look how you're literally taking real estate in their head. This can work in a relationship. This can work on a first date. You know what I'm saying? That's enough. Don't be so fast to reveal things about you. Like, okay, cool. You know about astrology and numerology. And if somebody comes up to you and is like mentioning, oh, that they're into astrology, don't be so quick to mention that you know it, right? Let it almost reveal itself by itself. Let it just reveal itself. Because guess what? If I'm talking to you about astrology and you never mention that you're like deep in this shit, and then one day I come across your Twitter and you're like deep in this shit, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck? It's gonna make me more intrigued to you because I'm gonna feel like, damn, I know nothing. You see, once people feel like they figured you out, there's no fun to it. How many times have you watched a TV show and once you figured out the plot, you're like, I'm done watching this. You get what I'm saying? So, I do want to take a couple questions. I don't know if Sway wants to add anything to that, but I do want to know what you guys think. If you guys want to add something onto that.
Wow. Thank you for that. Definitely good to know, hey, how we can use our voice into expressing, especially what our needs are, or how we want to receive. It's big. We need to be expressive and also know how to use it, when to use it, give it space, and that space is really give gives you that moment for that reflection. Um, Also, everyone, welcome as well too. Feel free to grab the mic and use the hand system. And let's get into it. If you guys have stuff to say as well too, as far as getting your flowers, receiving your flowers, using your voice, whatever it may be that is related, let's get into it. Eve, I
Yeah.
see you're up here. Thank you for grabbing the mic. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Sticks? What's
Let's
up,
talk.
Sway? I just want to say thanks.
So,
There's a lot of value. I only came in for the past like 10 minutes, but I really appreciate it. You mentioned, I think it was Robert Greene. Was it The Power of the Subconscious book that you were referencing?
Robert Greene. No, I've been talking about Laws of Human Nature, and I've honestly been circulating through the three books: Laws of Human Nature, Art of Seduction, and yeah, I think those two. Yeah, Laws of Human Nature and 48 Laws of Power.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank
I
you.
I really recommend you guys read that book. Like, read that book. Also, another book I was talking about was How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, the reason why we're having this conversation is because you guys are very advanced beings when it comes to what you guys are into. And unfortunately, we're just now starting to penetrate the masses. So some people will accept you and some won't. So what I'm trying to teach you is how to balance that spiritual and that material aspect. You see, as a cat and as a sweetheart, I guess you could say, I used to think that this was negative. I used to think that this was bad until Cat Year came around and I started to get punished because human nature is human nature. People are gonna be envious. People are gonna be jealous. People are gonna compete with you. You, no matter how fucking sweethearted you're gonna be, it's always gonna happen. So you might as well learn how to adapt to the situation. 9 day, learn how to adapt to the situation and how to maneuver and how to make it work in your benefit, because here's the thing, you you're gonna get outworked, you're gonna get beaten by people who don't have the talent that you have because they're playing the game. Like, I'm sorry that the game is the game, but shit, you reincarnated here, man. So clearly, you chose to be a part of the conditions. But here's the thing: you play the game so later on you don't have to. You play the game so later on you create your own rules that people have to follow, and then you have your own game. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's like Call of Duty, man. I get so prestige, I get so leveled up that at that point I get to wear whatever fucking skin I want. I get to wear whatever I want, have access to whatever I want. And this is the thing. If astrology and numerology is a big thing at play, we already know psychology also has a part. Period. And when you have astrology and numerology and psychology, and you're putting these things all in play, man, you got it. What was one thing Gary said? Gary said you gotta learn how to get the NPCs to do what you want. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? If we're all out here trying to promote something that's positive for the world, you can't run away from how the negatives are trying to do it. They're programming us through TV, through radio. So what you think you got to do? If you're not willing to get on the playing field of your enemies, you might as well kiss the battle goodbye. If you're not willing to get on the playing field of your enemies, you might as well kiss it goodbye. I mean, why do you think it's legal to protect yourself? The right to bear arms. The right to bear arms don't always have to be physical. It can also be mental. It can also be psychological. It could also be spiritual. Because we all know there's people out here doing things on the spiritual realm. These motherfucking matrix come in your dreams. So you mean to tell me I'm supposed to allow myself to get attacked, but I can't push back on these NPCs? Fuck that. Learn how to get the NPCs to do what you need them to do. Learn how to get the NPCs to promote whatever it is that you're promoting. And this is for businesses. This is for teachers. This is for anybody looking to build up a following. Because if you don't get the NPCs behind you, bro, you might as well just say, fuck it. But the only way you're going to do that is you have to almost disguise yourself. Here's something someone said. Somebody said it's a business persona. It's a business persona because let's be real. If I go into a corporate office trying to negotiate a deal, you think I'm gonna show up there as the sweet version of me? No, they're gonna fucking tear me to shreds. I don't give a fuck how sweet you are, how sweet you think you should be. When it comes to you getting what you need to get done, bro, that shit's not gonna work. They're going to try to use that against you. So you have to know and you have to be equipped with the ability to demand your respect. You have to be equipped to know how to insinuate. See, that's the art of insinuation. The art of insinuation, I want y'all to write that down. The art of insinuation. This is how you get the NPCs to do what you want. The art of insinuation is being able to plant an idea. You watched Inception before. The art of insinuation is being able to plant an idea in someone's head and make them believe it's theirs. But how do we do that? We do that through programming. We do that through suggestion, right? I'm gonna teach you an example, right? This is fucked up. But hey, we're on Twitter. It's a cat year. We can get a little dark in here. I hope that's okay, right? So here's an example of the art and insinuation in a romantic situation, okay? Again, fucked up. I don't want everybody to just use this. I'm just giving you an example of how this works, okay? So let's say there is a guy that you're talking to, or let's say there's a girl that you're talking to, and let's say they are short with curly hair. The art of insinuation is telling someone, you know what, I've realized that in my past, I've always dated like tall people with straight hair. But anyways, and then now what happens is that because you skedaddled off of the topic, and you hit them with the anyways, now 2 weeks later, this person's gonna be looking like, damn, I'm kind of short. Damn, why my hair mad curly? I wish it was a little bit straighter. I'm serious. This is the art of insinuation. Now, you can do this in business. Let's say you have someone that you want to invest in something. You know, you'd be like, you know what? I never really was for that business, but you know, I'm starting to really look into it. I'm starting to really get intrigued by it. But anyways, and that, because you got to understand, not everybody wants to do what you say. We're also in the age of Aquarius. So if you think that you can just tell somebody what to do, you got to be fucked up. So if you think that you're gonna just tell somebody what to do and they're gonna listen, bitch, we're in the age of Aquarius. Aquariuses are rebels. Aquariuses will literally do the exact opposite just because you said so. Just because you said so. So if you know that, like, you see, here's the thing. Y'all be fighting with human nature because you don't like it. Human nature don't give a fuck that you don't like it. It's still going to do what it has to do. So what that means is that you work with human nature. You understand that there's a fear of, people will have a fear of missing out. So for example, if you have a business, use the fear of missing out. That's exclusivity. You see, all of this marketing, in order to make money material, you got to know how to manipulate. And manipulation doesn't always have to be negative. It's just manipulation is mostly used in negative connotations. But manifestation is manipulating energy, right? So you have to learn how to manipulate or else be manipulated. The only thing about it is that it's about your intentions. Because if you're going to be out here manipulating for negative causes, that's your ass. That's your ass. That's karma coming back on you. And everything that you do, it's going to come in a form of a person. So be mindful of how you use this information. Trust me when I tell you that. Because when I come on here and I use this information, it's only because I'm trying to promote something that's going to help your ass. Period. You want to know why? Because if I give you enough value, you're going to invest. You're going to be like, I want to see more of what she has to say. I want to see more. If it's giving and receiving, I give you energy, you give me energy. Voila, we're growing. Oh my God. That's magic, right? It's simple. It's simple. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, Sway. See if you have anything to say. Or if anybody wants to come on, add up to anything, give me any scenarios. That's another thing. If you have any scenarios, you're like, Sticks, what should I do in this situation? Or you want to hear how I would react in that situation, by all means, come up.
You've got his hand up. You don't go for it.
Yeah, so you said you're a cat, and I'm a cat as well, and it's a cat year. You said in the cat year you were dealing with I think you said it was just like troubles, or I forget exactly what you said. I was just wondering if you had anything more to say about that in regards to like how you respond to it.
Okay, so I'm not having troubles. What's happening is that if I don't be a cat, I get punished. Period. So what that means is that if let's talk about cats. Cats are selfish. I'm just looking at what I see in my actual cats. Cats want what they want, and they're not going to accept anything less. Cats don't allow you to mistreat them. They'll come when they want to come. It's a level of elegance. It's a level of control. It's a level of power. If I don't align with that, and this is for everyone because it still is a cat year, but it's double on the cats. Okay, if you don't align with the cat energy, your ass will get punished. So every time that I don't act like a cat, or I don't have that psychology in play, or I don't do the things that I'm telling y'all, I get punished. All right. And that's the thing. Like, one thing I'll always tell you is if you know you're the prize, and listen to me real fucking good when I say this, all right? If you know that you're the prize and you're talking to someone or you're trying to get a deal or whatever, but you're not acting like you're the prize, the other party is going to get confused and be like, wait, so if you're not the prize, then I must be the prize. And they're going to take that position. That's where you get fucked up. When people start to think that they're the prize when you're the one that's the prize. But here's the thing. If you know that you don't have more value than the other person, don't go around like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be delusional. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody else in front of you has more value to offer, I'm not telling you to be submissive because that's bitchy. I'm not telling you to be submissive. But understand the first law, never outshine the master. Listen, listen, take more value, give, receive. Anybody else?
So psychology is a big one in this year then.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm actually teaching that in the mystery school. So if you guys want to tap in and learn more about that, I will tag it up top. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, we got to make sure to really tap into that psychology and work on that mental state. Even it being a 7 year, uh, that's just what we need to be doing out here. Just one moment at a time. Just making sure.
Psychology, numerology, and astrology. If we know that this is one of the three money makers when it comes to people in business, think about it. Let's really take a moment to think about it. Psychology. Psychology is marketing. That's all marketing is. Marketing is psychology, right? Even when you look at the colors, they call it color psychology, right? So if we know that psychology is a big part, if we know that numerology, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and all the 28s and Rolex, and then you know astrology, these are the three foundations of a lot of these big businesses. But here you are running away from it because I don't want to. You see, here's the thing. We have too many people saying, well, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. Well, okay, then what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You either adapt or you continue to complain. Either way.
We got to continue doing that work and continue to keep flourishing in those spaces. We need that mindset. That mindset just keeps it moving and grooving and going into that flow and not stopping.
Exactly. And, my big thing when it comes to this is that your persona, how you are viewed, like your reputation is everything. You can't get that shit back. So you have to make sure this is a fucking video game. This is a fucking movie. This is GTA. So build out your life how you want it to be. And a lot of y'all may think that writing shit down or journaling is fucking gay or it's not cute or it's weird or it's lame or it's cringy. All right, let me tell you something. Everything that your ego and your pride is stopping you from accepting is what's stopping you from having success. Period. A lot of y'all talk about I wanna have an online business, but I don't wanna make videos. Okay, bitch, be broke. Be comfortable. Because that's the thing. When you say you don't want to do something because you don't like it, it's because you feel uncomfortable. A lot of people don't want to do things because they don't like being a beginner. And that's from Mastery, Robert Greene. Yeah, I'm dropping all of the books that I read. Mastery and Robert Greene talks about the fact that most people are not willing to learn a new skill because they are intimidated by being a beginner. So let me ask you, how many of y'all are stopping yourselves from learning a new skill that's going to make you better because you're intimidated of being a beginner? Y'all do know I had to start from zero on this Twitter shit, right? Y'all do know this is my second Spaces. I had to jump in order to be like, okay, well, let's try this shit out. And that's the thing. Do not deny things. You got to try things. And I'm a cat. And I be denying things sometimes. I denied TikTok at first. But guess what? Once I finally opened my mind to it and came around, thank God to my 23, you know, that 5 in me does keep me open-minded. But if you do look at 2023, that 23 is at the end. So you guys have to still be open-minded to new information because it's a 7 year. So be open-minded to new information this year because a lot of y'all don't even realize that you might just be rejecting that golden ticket that's in your back pocket because you think it has no value. I know we have another speaker.
Welcome on up, Nisi.
Hey, this is Magdalena. How are y'all?
Doing good, doing good.
Great.
I just really relate to a lot of the stuff that you've been saying since I'm a cat, and I'm coming up to my 7th year. So I'm just really trying to like sit back and like gain all the knowledge that I've already learned, more so like use it to my advantage. But like you,
Are you 99?
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but like you said, like the journaling stuff, it works. Like there was a time where like I just was really dedicated to that for like the 2 years. And then the next 2 years were really great. I was like just traveling and stuff like that. And then now I'm like I was just it's so much about gratitude too, because after I was in that space, you kind of forget where you came from, you know? So I
Yeah.
think it's also like once you start building, you can forget where you come from. So the matrix will pull you back to make you remember again.
And you know what? To add on to that, that's so powerful that you said that. The fact that people forget, you see, sometimes I talk to my boy David about, and sometimes I'll be talking to my boy Soy because things be happening, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, like I'm used to it," and I'll be like, "See, that's your problem. That's your problem. You're jaded." If you and I'm in a 3 year right now, so I'm learning a lot about the childlike energy. And we all know you have the divine masculine, you have the divine feminine, and you have the, you know, the child, the inner child. Now the divine masculine and feminine, I'm connected to it. You can look at me and you can literally see like this bitch look like a boy and a girl. What the fuck is going on? I was born on a half moon. So the masculine and the femininity is something that I've just been born with,
That's
period.
crazy.
When you
I was
meet me,
born on a half moon too. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah, yeah, so when you meet me, you're not gonna get some nigga. That like that's one thing. You're not gonna talk to me and think, oh, this girl act like a nigga. No, 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 no. I'm very much connected to my femininity and I'm very much connected to my masculinity. But now when we get to the inner child, now we are talking about the curiosity and the excitement. You see, because y'all get jaded sometimes, it stops you from really seeing the progress because you're too much in the frame that you can't see the bigger picture. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because no matter how much you may see, okay, if I see 333, 555, okay, I may not get too excited. But if I'm continuously seeing the numerology play a part, I see the 28s, I see the 33s, I'm always going to acknowledge it. Why? Because the moment that you stop acknowledging is the moment that you start to go deaf and numb to it. So you have to acknowledge the signs when they come. You want to know why? Because I read this in the book Think and Grow Rich. Again, I'm a 7, so y'all know I fucking read. Think and Grow Rich talks about that a lot of y'all be asking for things, but you have to understand that when you ask for things, for example, 1999 cats, we get to the bag, so we're able to manifest. So when we ask for things, a lot of times we don't get the thing, we get the idea that gets us the thing. And a lot of times, that thing that will get you what you're asking for will have a number next to it. So, for example, let's say fucking Twitter or whatever, like Twitter, I started around my birthday or whatever. And we all know when it's your birthday, it's a very energetic period, right? So the reason why I'm telling you this is because Matrix or whatever was like, hey, it's time to get on Twitter. Now look at the timing that I got on Twitter. The numerology is there. But the thing about it is that because you just think it's some fucking numbers or it's just, oh, just the Matrix talking to me, they're not just talking to you for no reason, my nigga. Everything is connected to something. Period. When has there ever been a situation happen and it don't mean nothing? When? It may not be a big thing, but what if you see a license plate and it got 33 on it, and lately you've been asking you need another play or something to level up in your career, and that 33 license plate turns into fucking Michael's. And you look at Michael's, you like, oh shit, Michael starts with the M. Oh shit. You know what? I should start selling jewelry. You gotta follow the signs. Never get jaded by it. Never think, oh yeah, it's normal. It's not. Man, that shit is always connected to something. So always be aware. Awareness. Have awareness.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, you start, because I was into numerology like back in 2018. Is when I would really just like add up any freaking number that I saw. I'll be like, anything, license plate, whatever. And then I was able to manifest, what I desired. And with that desire comes suffering afterwards, because you just suffer from you start to get ignorant because you start to lose the knowledge that you've gained. So you got to start back from square root one. It's crazy, but
Yep.
it
Yep.
always it always leads
And
you
that's the thing, it's
closer. It
snowball.
always leads you closer to yourself, and then it can always lead you further away from yourself.
It's like a snowball effect, bro. It's like once you start building up the momentum, especially when it comes to manifestation, especially when it comes to magnetism. Like, for example, when you start to work on your magnetism, I'm very big on magnetism. Why? Magnetism starts with M-A. My last name starts with M-A. My last name is Manhurst, M-A-N. I'm very big on manifestation. I mean, the letterology, it's all there. But if we look at M-A, M-A adds up to 5. Okay? So again, born on the 23rd, having understanding that magnetism, right? Understanding that a lot of times the more magnetic you are, it's like being in the center of that aura, being in the center of that energy, being the center of that attention. But here's the thing, you only get in the center of attention when you're not looking for it. You only get in the center of attention when you're not looking for it. Why do you think? Now, I'm not saying all fives. I'm not saying all fives. But the really pretty fives, the fives that mastered their energy, they're not looking to be seen because they already have been stared at enough to the point that when they walk in, they start to almost hate the fact that they get so much attention. That's the real five, the fives who's mastered their energy. The fives who are seeking that attention usually don't get it because whatever you're seeking runs away. If you chase something, it runs away. If you running at me, bitch, I don't give a fuck if you running at me to give me $1,000,000. You're running at me. I'm running too. Period. So what you have to understand, right? When that magnetism, think about it like a jar of energy, okay? Think about it like a jar of energy. And if you guys are receiving a lot of information out of this, if you guys are feeling like you're receiving a lot of value, don't be afraid to go ahead and retweet this damn spaces, because trust me, there's going to be so many people getting gems off of this, and they're going to start to apply this to their life, and they'll start to see how people start hitting them up. You see, y'all be texting people, y'all be checking on people, and then you be upset because people don't do it to you. Well, of course they're not going to do it to you. You're already putting so much energy out there, they feel like there's no need to. That's the thing. You have to start to take a step back and allow things to unfold. If you look at the process of anything beautiful, there is a time. Seed, time, harvest. Certain things you need to step back in order to really see what it can do. Let's think about a baby. Let's think about a plant. Let's think about a video. When you post a video, you have to post it and let it cook. But the thing is that because you are seeking, you're not having patience. And we all know patience pays. Patience pays. So, for example, let's say you want this job or whatever. Let's say there's a person that you like. You got to get off their case. You got to be so into yourself that this person or this thing is like, why don't you want me? You see, I like to think of money as a bitch. I call her Monet. You see, if I keep chasing after this bitch gonna look at me like I'm a clown. And how many of y'all been chasing Monet? We say get the bag, not chase it. Because if you're chasing something, what does that insinuate? That something's running, right? Damn, bitch. That's a channel thought, my nigga. That's the first time I done said that shit. That's the first time I done said that shit. But
You're
that's
gonna
a
have to tweet it.
fact. I do gotta tweet that shit. But that's a fact. If you're chasing after something, then what does that insinuate? That it's running away. And I'll give you an example to prove this, right? And don't take this super serious. Just understand what the fuck I'm trying to say. Don't be a fucking asshole, all right? So, if your dog leaves your house, your dog runs the fuck away. If you go after and chase that dog, when the dog comes home, where are you at? Chasing. But when a dog runs away, and I've seen this, I've had pit bulls, I've had cats, I've had all the fucking animals up in the fucking sky, right? They always come back. But the thing about it is that the moment that you chase, when they come home, you're not there. You're not there. So you have to start realizing that there is a level of detachment that is needed for you to receive the things that you want in life. You see, my GG people may not wanna accept this, but I think I'm one of the top manifestors in this motherfucker. I think I'm one of the top manifestors in this motherfucker. And one thing that I want to say is detachment is key. And you want to know why? Because what you're asking for, a lot of times, it comes when you least expect it. It comes when you least expect it. But that attachment shit make you a simp. It's a simp, right? To the point where you start accepting terms that don't resonate with you. This is where people sell their soul because of the desperation, right? To get rid of desperation, you need detachment because desperation shows lack. And again, this goes back to your emotions. What emotions are you feeling? Okay, a bitch didn't text you back. All right. But here's the thing. If you had options, that girl not text you back wouldn't bother you. But yeah, you may not have options now, but you need to carry yourself as if you do. That's how you create changes within your physical reality. I mean, you guys, I don't know if you ever heard of Joe Dispenza, but Joe Dispenza talks about the actual science of this. You see, if we go in VR right now, virtual reality, and I go play a fucking game where I jump off the cliff, my body is going to react as if I actually jumped off of a cliff. Right? So what you have to understand is that you have to start carrying yourself within that energy. Be it until you see it. Be it until you see it. But the thing is that you're waiting for the Matrix. You're waiting for the Matrix to show you what you want before you act like it when it don't work like that. Let's look at a movie theater. This is one of my favorite examples. Let's look at a movie theater, okay? When you go into a movie theater, the movie is not actually on the white screen. It's on the projector. Now, if you look at a projector has an eye, right? A projector is like a brain. I want you to think about that projector like your head. Okay, the physical reality, let's connect it to Matrix, right? Remember in the construct it was an all-white room. Okay, now let's connect it back to the movie theater. The TV screen that you're watching the projection program, all start with PRO. You got to understand it's a white screen. So how are you expecting the white screen to show you a picture when you're supposed to project on it first? Damn. How many of y'all been waiting? That's the problem. You are waiting. For what? You see, I'll give you one piece of advice that Gary shared to me when he said, this is how you get to the back. You have to be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. Why do we say that? 28 is one. Be aggressive. You have to be aggressive with what you want. I've hung around multiple millionaires. I've hung around multiple successful people. And these motherfuckers work like they got a fucking time bomb on their ass. Why? It's because they understand success loves speed. If I want to get results, I have to move. Why? Because it's an energy thing. It's an energy thing. The more energy I make, the more energy I generate, the more I can receive. Period.
That impression, that imprint.
Exactly. Exactly. So my question is, who is it that you want to become? What is it that you want to look like? You see, A lot of y'all, if y'all was to look at my day-to-day life, y'all would be like, what the fuck? She actually does that? You see, when I wake up, I understand. Here's the thing. I understand the seventh chakra is the crown chakra. Okay? The seventh chakra is the crown chakra, right? Now, here's what I understand. If I want something to change in my physical, I need to change it within my mental. So every moment of the day, I'm looking for moments to reprogram it. Because I understand as growing up, we've been getting programmed, right? We've been getting programmed through TV, through radio. Do you know that they play a song 17 times in order to get it ingrained into your subconscious? So when everybody was singing Old Town Road, y'all ain't even like that fucking song. Y'all ain't even like that fucking song. But because they played it 17 fucking times on the radio, your subconscious mind has no fucking choice but to accept it. You have no choice but to accept it. Bro, there's commercials on TV. When I was a kid, I fucking knew the whole commercial. Not because I liked the shit, but because it had just been so programmed into my head. Some of y'all have kids, and for some reason, you know the fucking cartoon shit when they be singing the shit. You be knowing the song. Not because you give a fuck about the song, but because it's been programmed so much. Okay? So when I wake up in the morning, because I understand that my mind is in a state, I think it's theta state, right? It's in a state that is easily impressionable. Okay? Why? Because I just left out of the dream state. Now, when we look at the word dream, REA. When we look at the word reality, REA. When we look at realm, REA. So my mind is in a state where it's already been traveling. So what that means is, like, think about it as if the mailman is coming, right? Early in the morning, the mailman is coming. This is when I can get my letter off to whoever I'm sending it to. So when you wake up in the morning, that is the time that you start to reprogram yourself, right? But here's the thing. A lot of y'all, when y'all wake up, you immediately think about the bullshit that you have to do for the day. And that's why you wake up upset. That's why you wake up like a fucking asshole. That's why you wake up cranky. Because you're, I gotta do these bills. I gotta do this email. I gotta do this. You don't even give yourself a good launching pad to work for the day. You feel me? So be more mindful of what you consume in the morning, in that hour right when you wake up, and what you consume at night before you go to sleep. You see, this has been taught since fucking 1919. You know, we look at Neville Goddard, we look at Abdullah, we look at all these people who's been teaching manifestation. And here's one thing that here's a 7 tip on how to learn. Look at the information that is consistently repeated through multiple teachers, and that is the truth. Period. That is the truth. There's always going to be different teachers, and some are going to be so fucking left, or some are going to be so fucking right. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be some main 10 rules that is consistent through all of them, and that's what you look for. And at that point, I'm thirsty as fuck. I ain't got shit to say to y'all else unless you have something that you want to talk about. I'm done talking my monologue, speaking what the fuck I gotta speak. I've given you a lot of information. If you want to get more information, you want to learn more from this 7, you could join my mystery school. My mystery school was made on the 28th, not intentionally. This was actually before GG33. All right. So, like I said, if anybody has any questions, if anybody want to discuss anything, I'm open to talk to y'all about anything. Just let us know. If not, we gonna head out.